massive breaking news. We're going to be telling you what was Pakistan's strategy last night. All right, we have this big news coming in at the moment. Let's quickly tell you what top defense sources are telling Times Now. That Pakistan Army opened up the Dras front as a deception, shelled in the Dras sector for 5 minutes. That is at 1950 to 2000 hours as a deception. They wanted to use this to enter an air raid on Indian installations. 3 planes were in Indian airspace. Aircrafts in Jaisalmer, Pathankot and Akhnur were shot down. That includes 1 F-16, 2 JF-17s that were shot down in the Indian airspace. Drones came in to map the Indian defense air preparedness, air defense preparedness, and from Leh to Kutch, there were attacks taking place. India, of course, used its L-70, the Zu-23, the MR-SAMs and the S-400 to bring down the UAVs. Sialkot was heavily pounded by Indian artillery as well. Rishabh, this is massive because this was no coincidence. It was very carefully planned, orchestrated and implemented by the Pakistani defense forces. On the one hand, they gave a ruse of using the artillery there in Dras, but the real intention was to enter the Indian airspace using the fighter aircraft.
Well, definitely, Malav. What we are given to understand, and these are the top sources from the Defence Ministry telling us, that the main, objective of Pakistan forces last evening was to ensure safe passage for their aircrafts that were going to enter Indian airspace and attack at our installations. These installations could have been civilian, technical as well as military is what we are given to understand. At around 1950 hours, which is 7:50 p.m. in the evening, Dras front was open. Heavy shelling happened at Dras front, trying to create a deception that Pakistan has opened the Dras-Kargil front near Leh. But from there, within 5 minutes, the artillery shelling stopped and the swarm of drones came in, reported in Jammu, reported in Pathankot, reported in Jaisalmer as well. Again, a deception. These, drones, what we are given to understand, weren't armed properly and were only sent in just to map India's air defense. But also for our viewers, India's air defense preparedness is such that most of our equipments are movable and hence they can change their location and can change their strategic locations as well. Then came in the 3 jets, 1 F-16 in Jaisalmer, 2 JF-17s in Pathankot and Akhnur respectively. All 3 shot down. We have been talking that how in Jaisalmer the local authorities did get hold of an alive Pakistani pilot as well. In response, India opened its front on Sialkot, and what we are given to understand that Sialkot was pounded heavily by India's artillery fire.
Well, that's the point as far as when it comes to India's preparedness is concerned, how India was 4 steps ahead when it comes to Pakistani forces and their deception, their plan, how it was neutralized.
Quick comment, Air Vice Marshal Manmohan Bahadur joining us here in the studio. Welcome to you, sir. Good morning. But this is massive. It's not an unfamiliar script. Create a diversion and then try and send your jets in.
That's Air Marshal R.G.K. Kapoor.
Air Marshal R.G.K. Kapoor. Beg your pardon. I'm so sorry. Your response. My mistake. Please come in, sir.
You see the whole escalation matrix, if you see from the very beginning, has been under a very, very tight control of India. So the way we started with the attacks on the terror camps and terror headquarters, we ensured that we were not escalating. And every action that Pakistan takes is being responded to in the same manner, in a very, very matured and a very restrained manner. That means that India is not at this point in time interested in escalating this situation. It is Pakistan which is forcing India to respond in those domains as it is doing. And so if we see the drone attacks and the missile attacks which took place early morning yesterday and the night of day before, India responded in the same manner against their air defense system, because they were directed against our airfields and our military establishments. We could have escalated to a higher level, but that is a maturity of the nation that we never escalated to that level. And so in this escalation matrix, we are controlling the matrix. As far as there is fair amount of fog of war, there is fair amount of misinformation, And so it is in our interest that we understand. There will be a lot of information on some aircraft being shot down or something being taken out. But I think it is in our interest to wait for a confirmation from the sources who are the military before we take any further action.
We will of course await that formal statement coming in from our Air Force, from the Ministry of Defence as well, and we understand that the briefing could happen perhaps later in the day. We're going to slip into a quick break, but we're going to continue to analyze massive developments that have taken place last night. What will India's response be? India's already responded is what we understand, but details of that are expected, and particularly of course details surrounding the Pakistani jets that have been shot down. Slipping into a quick break, join us for our continuing coverage on the other side.